Buying a PS5 was a flashback to 1995 for me, when somehow I convinced my mum and dad to buy me a PlayStation 1 for Christmas that year. It was released in Australia on the 15th of November in 1995, and I still remember the launch price. It was 700 Aussie dollars. Adjusted for inflation, that would be over $1,200 in today's money. I managed to get hold of $300 by selling my Sega Mega Drive and all my Mega Drive games to some other kid in the trading post. And because my birthday is at the end of the year, like 3 weeks before Christmas, I was able to convince my mum and dad to give me $200 cash money for my birthday and another $200 for Christmas, to make up the remaining $400 I needed to get to the magical number 700. My mum is a generous soul, so she had no problems with it. But my dad was super pissed off, because he thought it was a huge waste of money. But in the end, it wasn't. That PlayStation lasted me so long and delivered so many years of faithful service. Especially after I paid a kid at my school $40 to put a mod chip in it to play burned copies of games. In a parallel universe, however, with an alternate history, I may never have bought the PlayStation 1. Originally, I was staunchly opposed to the PlayStation. I'm a bit of a brand loyalist, and in the early 90s, I was fanatically loyal to Sega. First I had a Master System, then I had a Mega Drive, and I played them both to bits. Alex the Kid, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mortal Kombat, Streets of Rage, Jungle Strike, Shinobi, NBA Jam, Micro Machines, Dune 2, the list goes on. I couldn't get enough of it. And my best friend had those same consoles too. Sega was our jam. So I thought it was just a given that we'd be buying Sega Saturns when the next gen consoles dropped. But then my best friend announced that he was buying a Sony PlayStation. I couldn't believe it. I felt betrayed. I argued till I was blue in the face that Sega Saturn was obviously going to be the best 32-bit console. But neither he nor anybody else in our circle of friends believed me. I even organised a party one weekend for all of us to get together and hire both of the consoles from the local Video Easy and try them both out and see which was the best one. But to my dismay, everyone else in the group spent the whole night on the PlayStation, playing Ridge Racer and Battle Arena Toshinden, while I sat alone with the Saturn, playing Virtua Fighter and Daytona USA by myself. After that, it became clear to me that my best friend wasn't going to change his mind, and I didn't want to be an outcast, so I folded like a cheap suit and decided to hop on board the PlayStation train. And ultimately, I'm glad I did. The PS1 was fucking awesome. It turned out to be way better than the Sega Saturn. The Saturn was such a flop that Sega replaced it like 2 years later with the Dreamcast. Whereas the Sony PlayStation now is regarded as like the Jesus of consoles. Gaming history now is basically divided into the ancient days before the PlayStation came out and the modern gaming era, which began with the release of the original PlayStation. It is remembered as one of the best consoles of all time and has spawned 4 more successors, the latest of which I have here now. When I got this bad boy home, I was so excited I couldn't wait to set it up and start playing. And my kids were so curious and wanted to help and get involved too. When I started playing Astro's Playroom, my 3-year-old daughter's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. It blew her mind. She sat down in my lap and held the controller in her hands with my hands on top of hers so she could feel all the haptics, and she was instantly hooked. It was a magical moment to see a kid's whole world open up like that. Astro's Playroom is the free included game which is preloaded onto every PlayStation 5 that gets sold. Some people have said that this is the best pack-in console launch game since Wii Sports, and I think that's a fair comparison, because not only are both games pure fun and reason enough on their own to buy the console, but both games also serve the same function in demonstrating to both consumers and to developers what the possibilities are with the new console's controller. I.e., not only was Wii Sports one of the most fun lounge room multiplayer games of all time, it also showcased what sort of creative use cases could be implemented with the Wiimote controller. Likewise, Astro's Playroom serves the same purpose for the new DualSense PS5 controller. And wow, it's impressive. And as an aside, I want to call out Linus from Linus Tech Tips here. For months before the PS5 launched, he complained and complained that Sony were being assholes for not allowing DualShock 4 compatibility on the new PS5. In the same way that Microsoft offers compatibility for the Xbox One controller with Xbox Series consoles. But all it takes is a 10-minute play around in Astro's Playroom to understand why Sony made the decision to mandate DualSense controller use for all PS5 games. It's a quantum leap forward in terms of immersiveness and interactability with video games. But Linus still hasn't retracted his criticisms to my knowledge, and frankly, I would call upon him to do so. Sony are not trying to compete with Microsoft on value. You can't beat the value of the Xbox Series X with Game Pass Ultimate. It's unreal value for money. It provides a significant spec bump over the PS5 for the same price, and access to all the AAA and indie games you could carve for $15 a month, which is less than my Netflix bill. But Sony doesn't want to compete on price, they want to compete on experiences. They want to compete on exclusives, and that has been their business model for a long while. Sony exclusives are some of the most definitive must-play gaming experiences of all time. And Astro's Playroom shows that this gap is only going to grow wider during this console generation as well, if developers are as able to fully utilize the DualSense controller as Sony Japan's Asobi team have been able to. The fun factor in Astro's Playroom is literally sensational. It's the most fun you can have in a single player game, and that's because of the DualSense controller. It's a transcendent breakthrough which advances the art and science of gameplay to a whole new level of tactility and tangibility and realness. The story in this game is the story of the PlayStation's history. In every scene, at every stage, there's a cute, funny, heartwarming snippet of nostalgia that hits you right in the feels every single time. Hearing the sounds of the PS boot screen at the end of Memory Meadows made me feel emotions I haven't felt for 25 years, over half my life ago. Nothing else has ever done that to me. The immersiveness as well is unparalleled. The way the environments are blended to be both super luxuriant recreations of beaches or meadows or jungles, which make you feel like you're actually in that environment, but also landscapes comprised of PlayStation tech components and populated by robots reenacting famous PlayStation gaming scenes. It's so unique and unlike anything I've ever seen before. The graphics on a 4K OLED TV look gorgeous. The textures on the artifacts you find are amazing. Perfect digital replicas of the real physical thing. The sound is joyous and exciting and comforting and relaxing all at the same time. The buttery next-gen smoothness of the frame rates in 4K are just great. Astro's Playroom is literally flawless. This game gets a perfect 10 in every category, and any reviewer who gave it less than 10 is a cuck. Straight up. I'm right and they're wrong. Come at me, bro. If you've ever owned a PlayStation console of any kind before, you have to have this experience in your life. I think this game is perfect, and just by being made, it has made the world a better place. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.